With more on the Leafs, here's our director of scouting, Craig Button. Craig, Mitch Marner continues to drive Toronto's offense. Coming off a three-point night, he now has points in 16 of his last 17 games, fifth in the league with 36 points. Do the Leafs need to lock Marner up now before his price climbs any higher?
What I would say, Glenn, is that Mitch Marner is irreplaceable. So whether it be now or the next week or the next month, you're just simply not going to replace what Mitch Marner brings to your team. So you talk about fifth in the league in scoring, what he's done over the last 17 games. From the time he entered the league in 2016, he's eighth in points amongst all NHL players, ninth in points per game. And so when you have a player that's been a first-team All-Star right wing, a Selke Trophy finalist, can drive play offensively and defensively, makes people around him better, he's 27 years of age, you have to make sure you don't let this player slip because he is so important for the Leafs' goal of competing for a Stanley Cup. And that is why you have to get him to a contract. And you can ask me, what is the number? It begins with a 12. And his comparables are Panarin and Pastrnak and Nylander, and he's better than all three of them.
Yeah, and you look at a game like Wednesday where there wasn't much going offensively for the Leafs, and then they put Matthews with Marner in that third period, and within 5 minutes, they score 3 goals. But many fans, Craig, and critics will say we have to wait for the playoffs to, for Marner to earn a big contract. He had just 3 points in 7 playoff games last year. So what do you say to that criticism?
So those are the facts. But as you know, Glenn, and we'll get to that in a second, I've heard this time and time again. And when you have great players, there's an expectation that, oh, you just got to do it in the playoffs when it counts. I heard the same thing about Steve Yzerman. Oh, boy, are they ever going to be able to win with Steve Yzerman? I heard the same thing about Alexander Ovechkin. You're a fan of the Caps, and those questions surrounded Alex Ovechkin. They surrounded the Tampa Bay Lightning after they got swept 4 straight by the Columbus Blue Jackets in 2019. And so what we found is those teams weren't built to win. But when the manager went to work, and that's exactly what Brad Treliving is doing here with the Maple Leafs, that team got stronger, it got better. Oh, yeah, and they won. And I believe that the Leafs are in a position, because their team is stronger, because of the additions of Brad Treliving, that they have a chance to compete for a Stanley Cup. It's not about one player. It's not about 3 players. Mitch Marner is a great player. He's a superstar in this league. And as the team gets stronger around him, your chances of winning with Mitch Marner are way better than without him.
Well, our insiders project Marner on Canada's top line with Sam Reinhart and Connor McDavid at the Four Nations Face-Off in February. So maybe a good high-stakes test for the pending unrestricted free agent, Craig.
The Toronto Maple Leafs may be taking a new approach to salary management, which could directly impact Mitch Marner's contract negotiations. During Kyle Dubas' tenure as general manager, the team didn't hesitate to spend heavily, and this trend began with a 6-year extension signed by Marner in 2019. At the time, Marner's $10.9 million annual cap hit set the market for superstar wingers, surpassing comparable players like Mikko Rantanen of the Colorado Avalanche, who signed a 6-year deal with a $9.25 million annual cap hit. Now, however, times seem to be changing. TSN's Pierre LeBrun recently reported that the Maple Leafs have implemented an internal salary cap, aiming to ensure no player earns more than captain Auston Matthews, who signed a 4-year extension worth $13.25 million per season in August 2023. The team's primary concern revolves around Marner's agent, Darren Ferris, who, according to LeBrun, might push for a percentage of the total salary cap instead of a fixed dollar amount. This could result in Marner's cap hit exceeding Matthews' $13.25 million, conflicting with the Leafs' new financial strategy. Ferris is known for driving negotiations to the limit, often taking his clients to free agency. This raises fears that discussions between Marner and the Leafs could drag on until July 1st, giving Marner and his camp all the leverage in negotiations. Another complicating factor is the rising market. LeBrun noted that Mikko Rantanen believes he could secure $14 million per season as a free agent. This sparks the question, could Marner demand even more? And would Ferris take that gamble, knowing the Leafs might opt to move on and sign another player? Marner has made it clear on multiple occasions that Toronto is where he wants to be. As a local player with deep ties to the city, he's expressed his desire to spend his entire career wearing the blue and white of the Leafs. However, staying with the team may require him to accept less than market value, especially if the front office remains committed to its new salary structure. Such a sacrifice could be vital for the team's collective success and to avoid financial issues that have plagued the recent past. While negotiations are still in the early stages, it's evident that Marner's future with the Leafs is at stake. Maple Leafs fans may need to prepare for the possibility of significant changes, but they can also trust in the player's commitment to the city and the franchise to find a compromise. The Maple Leafs' decision to implement an internal salary cap reflects a broader shift in their team-building philosophy. After years of prioritizing top-end talent with hefty contracts, the organization appears determined to strike a balance between superstar contracts and depth throughout the roster. This strategy aims to avoid the pitfalls of past seasons, where a lack of financial flexibility often left the team vulnerable in critical playoff moments. For Mitch Marner, this shift creates a unique challenge. On one hand, his value to the Leafs is undeniable. A consistent top scorer and elite playmaker, Marner has been instrumental in driving the team's offense. On the other hand, his ability to command a salary that rivals or exceeds Auston Matthews could put the Leafs in a difficult position, especially with a potential need to strengthen other areas of the roster. As the 2023-24 season progresses, the Leafs must weigh the potential consequences of sticking to their cap philosophy. Losing a homegrown talent like Marner would undoubtedly sting for fans and the organization alike. However, allowing one player to dictate financial terms beyond the team's structure could hinder long-term success and force painful sacrifices elsewhere. Adding to the complexity is the looming free agency of William Nylander. If the Leafs are to stick to their internal salary cap, they may also face challenges in retaining Nylander, who could command a significant raise. Balancing contracts for both Marner and Nylander within the new framework could prove to be the ultimate test for Toronto's management team. Another factor at play is the team's ultimate goal, winning the Stanley Cup. While star players like Marner and Matthews are crucial, history has shown that depth and balanced rosters often prevail in the postseason. If the Leafs fail to manage their finances effectively, they risk falling short of building a championship-caliber team, even with elite talent. For Marner, the decision to stay with the Leafs might come down to more than just dollars. His connection to the city, the fans, and his teammates could be deciding factors. If he prioritizes legacy and loyalty over maximizing earnings, there's a strong possibility that he'll work with the team to find a deal that benefits both parties. Negotiations will also test Darren Ferris, known for his hardline tactics in securing lucrative deals for his clients. While pushing for top dollar is expected, Ferris may need to weigh the risks of alienating the Leafs management and fanbase. A prolonged stalemate could damage Marner's relationship with the team and its supporters. The Leafs management, led by general manager Brad Treliving, faces a pivotal moment. Treliving's reputation as a negotiator and team builder will be on full display as he navigates this high-stakes scenario. Striking the right balance could solidify his tenure in Toronto, while a misstep might set the team back for years. For Maple Leafs fans, the coming months will be filled with anticipation and uncertainty. Marner's future, along with the team's ability to stay competitive under financial constraints, will likely dominate conversations as the season unfolds. Supporters can only hope that the team's new approach leads to greater playoff success and, ultimately, the elusive championship. In the end, the outcome of these negotiations could redefine the Maple Leafs' identity for years to come. Whether it results in retaining Marner or reshaping the roster, the team's commitment to an internal